Hello and welcome back to another Random Dice PvP gameplay video. And yeah, it's been a while since my last upload, but yeah, here I am and I'm playing some Random Dice PvP. And as you can see, I am playing this deck with Summoner, Trade and Devil Sword Assassin, which is really interesting in my opinion. Of course, this match is unfortunately a loss, because yeah, at the beginning it's a little bit tough against EX10 or Hypersyn player, but I think on the long term you can really gain some trophies. So as you can see, okay, I couldn't see how this match was, but I mean, this deck can win against this type of decks which have to build up a little bit. For example, Predator or I don't know, Soul Dice, and even against Plasma Shield it isn't the worst. You can see here against Predator, it's like it needs a little bit of time to build up and have some clones. So the scope of this deck is of course to assassin your opponent. So it's similar to Hypersyn, but you have more time, or of course you need more time, but it might be safer. So like with Hypersyn, if you have bad RNG, so you might lose a game against someone who you normally would have won against. So I think another really important point about this deck is the blessing percentage. So I'm still not sure what's the best. So if you have a recommendation or know what's the best blessings percentage, feel free to tell me. So I think I tried a little bit, but at the moment I am playing with 13.5, because normally I get my Devil Sword in the beginning, but I also get some Summoner to build up a little bit, and I also tried 15%, but as you can imagine, sometimes I don't get my Devil Sword in the beginning and then I lose against someone I could have won against. But if I have I also tried I think 12%, but it's really it isn't really not enough, because you have Devil Sword but you don't have so much Summoner in the beginning. So yeah, I think 13.5 isn't bad, but as I told you, if you know what's the best, you can tell me. So yeah, as you could see here, this deck can do really, I think, a lot. But I have to admit that these games are before the release of the what's called Forging Dice. So you know, in the moment, a lot of players play Forging Dice, but I have one game in the end, which you can see that this deck might be also good against the Forging Dice, even with Bubble or Time Winner. Time Winner is normally played with Forging Dice, but I mean, even with Bubble or so, it's good, because the Forging Dice also needs time in the beginning to build up a little bit. But of course, later on, it's really, really strong. So I also played, I don't know, Devil Sword with Ignition or so, but I always lose against Forging Dice. So you really need some Assassin or, I don't know, EX10. But which also interesting is that I saw a deck which Forging Dice, but also the Overheat trade. I think it might be for EX10 or Hypers in the beginning, but also I also saw if you have a mission where you have to spend SP, so Overheat is always good. And yeah. And if you have any questions about this deck, you can ask me, of course. But I think most of you will know it and also know how to play it, and even will play it better than me. I also make some mistakes and have to learn what's the best, technique, or how to use this deck the best. But I think it's in the beginning, of course, what's here, I don't know. Sometimes the connection is really bad. And I think it's in the beginning, if you can, you have to try to activate your Devil Sword on your Summoner dice, so you can summon a little bit faster. And you can also abuse this against, I don't know, before a boss came, you can activate your Devil Sword on the Summoner, and then your other Summoners will have more time and so on. So there are a little bit of tricks. I don't know every trick, of course, but I will continue with this deck, I think. And I also played other decks, but I think in the moment this might be the best for me personally. But of course, I don't have the Forging Dice yet. I would use it too, but I don't have it yet, so yeah. And the thing is, like, next season I can't really play because I'm in vacation in Italy, so I have 4 weeks there and I can't really play, but at least I wanted to show you this deck, like I said, for those who are interested in, and you can also tell me if you're playing this deck, what are your experiences, because actually it's really fun if you play against decks that you can technically beat. And yeah, but the hardest counters are I think, like, Summoner Dice is really tough, because every time you target Summoner Dice, your opponent have a benefit of it, so it's really, really tough. And of course against Rage Dice, this Rage deck with Plasma Shield and Bubble, it's also a nightmare, because when you target the Bubble is tough for me, and if I target the Plasma block also came really often, so yeah, that's normally a loss. Of course, maybe a really good player can beat them too, but I think I'm at the moment the average Devil Sword Assassin player, so yeah. And yeah, as you can see, I try to end up in the top 100 this season. I have a little bit more trophies, but I don't know if I can do it, because yeah, as you can imagine, there are a lot of other really good players who want to end up there. So if I don't do it, it's not that bad, because the most important thing for me was to gain some experiences when it came to randomized PvP. So yeah, in the long term, you get experience, you lose, of course, but maybe on the long term it's better. And as you could see, I think it would have been better if I also merged my Mimic Dices, but I thought, like, I need some damage in the beginning, but yeah, I think that's not the the best way. So if you can, I think that this was also a too high blessings percentage, so yeah. And these games were also been a few weeks ago, so this isn't the really newest footage, but yeah, I at least wanted to show you. And as you can see here, against Rage, I really tried, but yeah, you will see that in the end it wasn't enough. And yeah, as you could see, in the end it really wasn't enough. I tried my best, but his battlefield was I think, as normal, so it really didn't bring anything with Assassin Dice. But yeah, GG to my opponent, of course. And I also, as you can see here, I often play against the same players, so I don't know. I mean, I know there are a lot of players, but the matchmaking is sometimes really strange, because I know there are players that I never play, but I know they also play, so I don't know. I really don't know how the matchmaking works, but it is what it is. And yeah, I think you have to be prepared against the players you play the most. And yeah, you can see here also the message, that I also, I really often played against Roxanne, but yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, so I don't have too much to say, but if you play this deck, of course, tell me what are your experiences. Yeah, I think at this point I will speed up a little bit, because yeah, it's always the same. If you have your Devil Sword in the beginning, it's like, yeah, it's already a thing of the time. So in the long term, you might beat every of these decks. And yeah, like these decks, these are also the decks that you always beat. So like I said, Summoner trade is really tough, and Plasma Shield Bubble, but against Devil Sword, I don't know, I'm really curious about the meta. So how will, of course, change? With the Fortune Dice, it will change a lot, or it just changed a lot. But maybe there will be a nerf, I don't know, because it's really, really strong. And it's like, or you play the Fortune Dice, or you play counters against the Fortune Dice. But we will see, of course. I think it will be, of course, really interesting. And yeah, so at this point, I don't know. I think, But we will see how this season will end. I will, of course, give my best. But I think at the end of the day, it have to be funny, so it don't have to be forced. But I really wanted to try, so yeah. Yeah, this deck's also nightmare, cause Ancient Summoner plus Summon Trade and I don't know, Tsunami Dice. It's really, when I face this deck, it's absolute nightmare. But yeah, it is what it is, so can't do anything. And yeah, you can see another, I think, yeah, that was a Hypersyn match. Hypersyn, if you have Plasma Shield RNG in the beginning, of course, but I think I would have needed a Wind Dice to make some damage, but yeah, So I think Hypersyn is also very good at the moment. Maybe with this what's called a Prisma. It's also, I mean, if you have the RNG in the beginning, you can really do a lot of things. So maybe in the moment Hypersyn X10 might be the way. So yeah, you can see here you can see I also played other decks, because sometimes when I face an opponent and I think they will play instantly another game, then I can snipe them. So yeah, that's also a little bit toxic, but I mean, in the end of the day, if you want the trophies, though, yeah, you have to risk something. So yeah, X10 also really good. As you can see here, the opponent can't do really much. And here it was like, I knew that also I would have played against her too. So I changed my deck, but as you can see here, a little bit toxic by me, but these are the, I think, tricks that you can do. But of course, I mean, it's really risky. And yeah, here you can see with this deck against Fortune Dice, it's really good, I think. So this, I think you can also play this deck with the combo dice. There's this player called C, so ABC, and he I think made a lot of trophies with this deck, but the combo dice instead of the Devil Sword dice, which is also really good. But I prefer this because you can, it's really good combination with Summoner, and when you have too high pipped dices, you can lower them with the Devil Sword. So I think I really prefer this deck, but of course with the combo dice it's also really nice. So yeah, but yeah, we will see what the season will bring. So yeah, as you can see here, nothing the opponent could really do. So yeah, that's it for this video. Yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the content, and yeah, as I told you, you can comment everything you want. You don't have to, but if you had any questions or I don't know, anything, you can write it in the comment section. So yeah, thanks for watching. Wish you all the best for the current season. See you next time. Ciao, ciao.